All right, let's talk about a book with a title that just grabs you and makes you think. Bob Frissell's Nothing in This Book is True, but it's exactly how things are. I mean, right from the jump, that paradox sets us up for a wild ride that's going to challenge pretty much everything we assume to be real.
So let's just sit with that for a second. The title itself is basically a dare, isn't it? It's asking us to just suspend our disbelief for a bit and consider that the reality we see, feel, and touch might just be one possible version of the truth. It's really an invitation to explore some ideas that are way out on the edge of mainstream thinking.
So, where does a book like this even begin? Well, it starts by questioning the very nature of your reality, proposing a completely new way of looking at consciousness itself.
Okay, so here's the core idea that everything else is built on. The conventional view, right, is that our brain, all that gray matter, creates our consciousness. But Frissell just flips that script completely. He suggests that consciousness isn't just some passenger along for the ride, it's the architect. The idea is that our thoughts, our awareness, they're the very force that shapes and manifests the physical world around us. And if you follow that thread, it means our evolution isn't just about biology. The book puts forward this idea that it's a spiritual journey, a kind of unfolding of our collective awareness. This means our growth as a species is totally tied to our ability to tap into higher and higher levels of consciousness.
Okay, so if consciousness is the builder, what's the blueprint? The book argues there's a hidden architecture to everything, these secret patterns woven into the fabric of existence.
And this architecture has a name: sacred geometry. Now, this isn't just about, cool-looking shapes. The idea here is that these specific geometric patterns are the literal building blocks of reality, from the way a galaxy spirals to the very structure of our DNA. It's the language that connects the physical world to the spiritual one.
The book really hones in on a few of these core forms, and each one, whether it's the beautiful complexity of the flower of life or the perfection of the platonic solids, is believed to hold a kind of unique spiritual and energetic signature. They're like keys to decoding the universe's design.
And this is where it gets really wild. Take the flower of life, for instance. This exact pattern has been found carved into ancient sites all over the planet. Frissell suggests that maybe advanced, ancient civilizations, think Atlantis or Lemuria, didn't just know about these forms, they might have actively used them, harnessed their power. Now, what's really cool is that the book doesn't just leave this as some abstract theory. It presents it as a practical tool, something you can actually use for your own personal transformation, for what it calls ascension. And the main tool for this is something called the Merkaba. It's described as a star tetrahedron. Picture two pyramids, one pointing up, one down, interlocked and spinning. This form is presented as your personal energy field, your light body. Think of it like your own personal vehicle for exploring higher dimensions of consciousness. So how do you actually do this? Well, it's a very specific meditative process. It involves a whole sequence of mindful breaths while you visualize these two pyramids of light spinning in opposite directions around you. The whole goal is to raise your vibrational frequency and literally expand your awareness. But here's the thing. This personal journey isn't happening in a bubble. Frissell argues that our individual evolution is plugged into a much, much larger cosmic picture.
And yeah, that bigger picture, it includes extraterrestrials. According to the book, this isn't science fiction stuff. ET contact is presented as a fundamental, if hidden, part of human history, pointing to ancient texts and weird artifacts as clues to this interaction that's been going on forever.
Okay, so you gotta ask, right? If this has been happening, why the giant secret? Why the intense cover-up?
Well, the book lays out a few pretty compelling reasons, and they all kind of boil down to one thing: control. The theory is that governments might be hiding this reality to prevent mass panic, sure, but also to hang on to advanced technologies and to avoid the total collapse of our social, religious, and economic systems that a revelation like that would probably cause.
All of this, our own personal work with the Merkaba and this whole hidden cosmic drama, is supposedly coming to a head in what the book calls the shift of the ages. This is described as this huge period of planetary transformation, basically an evolutionary leap for all of humanity into a higher state of being. So, at the end of the day, after all this mind-bending stuff, sacred geometry, light bodies, ETs, what are you supposed to do with it all? How do you bring this into your actual daily life? And the book is actually really practical here.
It lays out a pretty clear path. We're talking about daily meditation to connect with that inner self, maybe using some of these sacred symbols in your home as reminders, focusing on holistic health, and maybe most importantly, just trying to foster a sense of community and embrace all this change with an open mind.
And that really gets to the heart of it. The real power isn't just in knowing these concepts in your head. It's about living them. It's about weaving the spiritual into your everyday life and starting to see the profound in what seems ordinary.
And that brings us right back to the central challenge of the book. If your consciousness, your awareness, truly is the force that manifests your world, well, then the responsibility and all of the power is entirely yours. So the question is, what kind of reality are you going to create?